It brings the vibration in, and it shows that I can't really sing proper, but people do think sometimes I can, and I'm just acting out like there's Les Dawson with the piano.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
He did, didn't he?
He did, yeah.
Very clever clogs.
Yes, he was.
You've got a lot of people here, you know, from different backgrounds that come here to work with all of you lot. You know that.
Yes. Yeah.
And there's many people, isn't there, that come into the, I call it whiter shade of pale.
Mm-hmm.
What do I mean by that?
Well, you answered that question to me.
Yes, lovely,
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, lovely, yes, yeah.
A whiter shade of pale.
Yeah, white shade of pale. What does that mean, really?
Well, I don't know, actually.
Is it almost like it's more active on one side and not on the other?
Okay, right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
I suppose it does. I don't know, you tell me if it don't, because I can't sit here and talk rubbish, can I?
I think people get confused in the fact that they are, what's the word, not narrow-minded, but they're blinkered, and they think or feel that there's one type of guide and no one talks in this other dimension, and I feel that it would be good to explain a little bit more about that.
I'm not quite sure what you mean, one type of guide.
No, I mean, it's
much on that level, you mean?
Yeah, I think it's much bigger than we realise.
Yeah.
But people are blinking the fact that they say, see you, and the guides around you. And then they think, well, FSHG has a different set of guys that don't talk to you.
I see. Okay, that's so, is it?
It has been. I would like you to explain it's much bigger than that. It's because we're all one, really, aren't we?
Yeah. Well, what I mean is that, you see, not fully understanding what you mean by that, but what I can say is, when you reach out to your wholeness and what you are, as you work in your own measure of thought, let's put it that way, and let's say when you start to open up your frequencies to that being of trust.
Yes.
Because that's what it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
You work with that familiarity, don't you? It's a big word for me, familiarity.
Yes.
You work with that essence of love, life, and you build it up with your spiritual team, whatever way you want to look at them being. There's these energies there, whatever way. And you grow with that, and it builds up into a system. Now, when that system's connected fully, it shows you then you are capable of dealing with things on a measure of thought that perhaps you weren't before. So the more you do and the more you link with it, the more you open up the energy levels. You're opening up your whole perspective of who you are. Yeah. That comes in when you drop yourself into life as an embryo. Come in with that energy level. You open up your heart, bring it in, come in, and all these exercises that you've had and done or going to do are there. They come with you, they join with you, you work along the way, do your job, grow up into a big sort of human being, and then it shows you that there are exercises there that at times need to be fulfilled and others that don't. So as you grow and your guides and your helpers grow with you, you're illuminating the setup of who you are. And you're bringing it down to earth, because the earth is what you are, as well as the atmosphere and all these dimensions. So you're part of the whole setup. So I can't see how it can be divided. Yeah. I can't see how it can be reflective on other levels to make people think that maybe there's just the one thing. Yeah. Is that correct?
Yeah, I just think there are possibly some humans that just feel, they just need to open up, I suppose, that there's more to it than
there's more to it than meets the eye.
Yeah.
Because look at you lot, look what you're made up of. Why do you think you come here in the first place?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you're all part of the whole universal link. Oh yes, let me just say this now then, may I? It's almost as though when you see yourself in a position and you continue in life and you grow, you begin to understand more about what it is that you don't know rather than what you do know. Yeah. And it's true. So there's no stopping you now, all of you, to be what you feel you can be. And whether or not people feel what we do is not right, or it's perhaps not on the right track, I don't quite follow that either, because I feel as though it's almost as though whatever one is, one expresses, and when one does express, one begins to feel very, very good about oneself. And it's almost as though one is diverted into a different mainstream. And you feel as though there's nothing around you that can hurt you or touch you. And it's almost as though you're not walking on air. I mean, you're obviously on the earth plane. But I know with Linda here, she feels very disconnected from so much. Because we've allowed her to be free with her energies in the way she is. Because she's worked over the centuries. And she's dealt with so much, you see, that's been, what can I say, put out there to be observed, and that's another word I like, because observing is what it is, you do really, when you take on board all the fear, it brings you into a different dimension altogether. And that's what stops one from really being who they really are. And that is why we come here at this time on the earth to perhaps express this to all of you out there, wherever you are. Please don't be afraid of being who you are. Don't be afraid to say what you feel, even at times as though it might seem to another person you're being a little bit awkward or upset, but what it means is you're releasing. Once you release something, you're ready to open up to a different level of information. And I feel it's such a wonderful thing, when one, I know we feel very blessed to be able to link here in this way. We're very, at times have been emotional, but there you see, what's happened is, over the times we've trained up this young lady to do her job type thing, we've worked with her through different levels of energy, we've brought her down to her knees in so many ways, in so many places, and it's helped her to throw off all she needed to from her, the earth's crust, if you like, being part of what she is and you all are. And it's given off a different status. So it shows that she is there, well-being in all she does, doesn't feel anything other than love, you see. Not that she's perfect, because if she was, she wouldn't be on the earth plane. But you see, you've got these abilities here, my dear friends, that work with everything that you need to be, and you don't need to worry. I know you have these material worries, and I understand fully how awful it can be. I remember when I was on the earth plane, I saw a lot of poverty, which really disheartened me. Won't go into that, but I did. But I know this and I feel this, but the only way we can sort of say to you all that we realise this is what you are doing, feeling and needing, is just to be here and try and say these things to you. And we're always there if anybody needs to talk to us, whether it's on the phone or whatever it is. So, God bless with that anyway. So I'll let the others do their job now. Thank you for listening to me. Yes. Oklahoma. Here we come. That was a place where there was a lot of funny business going on, wasn't it? Centuries ago. So when we look at these different things we feel or know we've been part of before, then Craig, if you say to yourself you feel there was a link with a place and you feel very akin to, or it makes you feel funny if you're there or whatever. Does that mean really, I wonder?
What makes you funny?
What is it that's going on there then?
You're remembering that you have a link, or a feeling that you have a link to the place that you've been, or I have many of those. Yes, recognise it. Yes.
Do you feel sometimes, lovey, as though it might not have been that you were actually there, but maybe you were observing part of it?
I hadn't thought of that one.
Yeah?
I thought I'd been there, but
no,
yes.
Doesn't always mean that. It's interesting, this topic. I love it. I like talking. I think you noticed that.
Yeah. And singing.
Yeah. Oh, don't start me off on that, because we could sing something if you like. We could do. Do you sing it?
No, I'm not good. I'm not very good singing.
Okay. I'll let you off sing.
Thank you.
what were we saying, to do that? Yeah, often you see,
Often,
when you link with your incarnation of perhaps of something you feel very strongly about, that you were, or even if you were at a place, you know, you feel that.
yeah.
It's like there's a link, isn't there? But sometimes it means there's a part of that link that you were part of rather than being there.
Okay.
Because it might mean that someone who's close to you was there and they felt it in a different way to you.
Oh.
It might even mean that as the orbital system now is beginning to exchange its position on the Earth, it might mean it's the other way round. Think about that.
Right.
Yeah?
Okay.
So there's a lot to talk about, ain't there?
Yeah. Because I've travelled quite a bit around the world, and every
Yes.
city or place I've been to, I thought I had a connection with
Yeah.
because of the energy that I was working with. But it could be observation then.
Yes. Yeah. It depends really, lovey, on really what at that moment you were present with.
Yeah.
That's all it is to it, really. It's simple as that. You know, sometimes when you feel as though you're, say, reconnecting with someone you've known before,
Yeah.
and you feel that's something that, well, quite a treasure, isn't it, at times, and you
Yeah.
think, good Lord, that's strong,
Yeah.
that made me feel good, that's cleared something, that's put something in place, ain't it?
Yeah.
Well, that means that, yes, there's a connection there that has been, right, I've got to have a drink. Oh, sorry, lovely.
Sorry. Oh, come on.
Sorry, lovely.
Sorry, that was my
Oh
fault.
dear, sorry about that, dear. No, don't worry. Just need a little bit of. Thank you very much. Thank you. Yes. Yeah. So see, when we were saying about that, lovey, it can mean if you're observing something, it means that you perhaps were linking with it in a different way. And maybe a part of you needs to see it in a different way for you to let go of it. And that's what it is as well.
Yeah.
But the part what I'm talking about with the dimensions, and it could be the other way around, with like, you could be actually walking on the earth, seeing something in the distance that maybe is not really affecting you at all.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it can become part of you.
Right.
Right? Now that means in a way that you've contributed to something that the earth needed to place.
Okay.
So you know about these links with all these things in the universe that often are placed in a different order to show people that maybe what they are actually being part of is only the process of evolution.
Right.
And that where there's things at times that are indeed making sense to you, it can show you too that maybe a part of you is disagreeing with something you thought before was correct.
Right.
So you're viewing it in a different way.
Yeah.
Now, these things all take place, don't they, in your lives? When you go to your sleep at night, in your bed, the physical's resting, it's,
Yeah.
I say, yeah, do you ever trouble your hamstrings?
No.
Ah, I don't know why I say that. I think you used to, somewhere along the line. Yeah,
Maybe.
somewhere along the line. But let's say when you do release yourself into the overall situation in your sleep state,
Yeah.
people, anybody, when you do go into that place, let's say you'll feel as though you will actually, at that time, without recognising it, you're being part of another sort of setup. Because you open up all the sort of, what do you call it, I was going to say fringe benefits.
Right.
Which it is really.
Yeah.
What's a fringe benefit to you, Craig?
It's a benefit. It's something that
Comes into your hands when you least
yes.
expect
Yeah.
it?
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. I call this a fringe benefit,
Right.
you know, in your sleep state, and you go into this and you work with it and you become part of it. But often things are released into your daytime state from that sleep state pattern, because they need to be affected on that level rather than when you're in your sleep in your bed all tied up in knots.
Okay.
And that's what it is about as well. You see, we could really go very deep into things, but we wouldn't do that because you wouldn't understand. None of you would have a clue what we're on about.
Right, yeah.
And I know at times people don't know what we're on about. But that's because, now, let me just put this right here. We've had to learn how to adjust to the system here, to work with it on the level we need to get it right.
Yeah.
To keep it going. To keep it penetrating through all systems, to work with every single thing, which we do. Now, there's things obviously that don't always work in the same way, but there's things that come about in the way maybe you think. You don't always know why you're doing something. So we can work with you on that level because your membranes in the mind's eye, say, are often working on other levels without you knowing it.
Right.
So when we say something you think you don't really follow, it's happened a lot in the groups that we have.
Yeah.
And people are saying, don't know what you're on about, can't take that in. And I say to them, you are taking it in on another level.
Yeah.
Because there's parts of the membrane that do work on other levels that take in that thought process and help it to evolve.
Okay.
See what I
That
mean?
makes sense, yeah.
So that's what goes on there. So everybody's in it together and no one's any different to anyone else or better. You all do your jobs.
Yeah.
And we want everyone to feel very closely linked with everything that they do, because at this time in the world now, with all this, let's say the pandemic that's taken place,
Yeah.
which has evolved throughout, and it's gone back and come back again, and it's now dissipating. Let's say that it's produced a lot of evidence for people about who they really are,
Yeah.
hasn't it?
Yeah.
It's brought them down to their knees. It's helped them to see that things are maybe not what they thought they were, and it's really affected so many families, and I think it's marvellous.
Yeah.
I know it hasn't been easy for people that have lost loved ones, who are at times in a very pitiful state. So sad, very upsetting indeed. And I would say that the love goes out to these people on every level, but there's lots of things taking place that are beginning to adjust to the system that needs now to be opened up fully to these dimensions that are now awakening. Now you've got many dimensional positions in life, many that you don't see, many you do see, and now there's others coming in that are awakening your third eye in such a way that it's actually it's descending back in time, because its time is now. It needs to be penetrated with time to make it in the now. So what's going on is you will at times repeat things and go forward into spaces that need to be unearthed. And as they do, they will become more extreme and they become more effective by other things that go on around you. Now there's many people in the atmospheres that are now ordaining themselves to be part of the earth.
Right.
They're coming in now in a different way through like as a baby, an embryo.
Yeah.
And these baby, I call them babylings, are actually producing a lot more evidence than ever, because that's time now, isn't it?
Yeah.
To be more reflective, become more out there with this, to bring joy to people, to help people to see there's nothing to fear but fear itself, but there's nothing to fear at all. As a human being, I'd say people are recognising now there's things that are going to be heard. People are going to say things to one another and they're going to be quite taken aback by what they say, because they wonder where it's come from, what they've said it for. You're all inspired by your thought processes. You're all inspired by those that go beyond the veil, and you're all there to be part of that. And I really hope that in time you're all going to be in turn, you'll all be there to be free enough to do your job as you need to. Because there's so many people with abilities out there. Everyone has an ability. Some obviously more than others have come to the earth to join in to unearth the earth.
Yeah.
And that's what you lot are doing. You know that anyway. And there's a lot of people out there who are coming together now and they are fully realising that they are ready to commit themselves to this place on the earth that needs now to be adjusted accordingly. But also, if one looks at it this way, when the human being is placed in an order where one is showing itself it is able to connect in all sorts of ways, then just let it happen. Don't be afraid. You don't need to worry. Your love is your protection. You are here to be part of the universe and the earth, and you are here to adorn a mission totally with all those. And dear loved ones here today, might I say, are crowded in this room today with people from all sorts of different backgrounds and loved ones as well. For all of you, of course, you might not be here, everyone, whoever's going to watch this now and show us that we are perhaps in a position perhaps now to get on and do this job, because we've been waiting long enough for the intermission to lapse. And we hope that you all know how much you are loved by everyone and those dear souls that work with you from the so-called spirit realms come here today to bring joy and knowledge to you all. And just let it be. And when you sit and you just link with your feelings, let your feelings come and go. Don't fear what's coming in. Don't try and clear your mind totally. It's impossible at that time. Let it just come in and let it just free itself. Bring in that thought, let it come, let it go. Feed it, if you like, with the love. But don't go overboard with anything. You're a natural process of evolution, and the human race is, and I feel as though there's nothing to worry about and just be who you are, really.
Okay.
And that's all I've got to say about that. So, are we ready to conform to this reunion, as I call it, in life? Well, I think we all are, aren't we?
Yes, we are.
Good. So, there's a lot there to be said, isn't there, for feelings as well.
Yeah.
Because everyone has a feeling at times that feels as though it's working overtime.
Yeah.
And it makes you feel nauseous. Or
Can do, yeah.
that's because the Earth's energy is working with you and it's challenging your fear and it's taking the fear away. And if one can feel that within themselves, that the fear is just, it's like basking in the sun, really. Let the fear just go away. Tell it to bugger off. So, whatever it is anyone needs to know, then please ask. So, I think another time, Craig, maybe, when we do or able, we can fit in something else to do, which you feel might be, I'm going to leave it to you, you feel might be of use.
Okay.
Perhaps. And
that would be great.
do you wish to ask anything at all, Craig, or have we...
No, I think there's a lot there that you said that with the video people can look back over, more than once, because it takes time to assimilate what you've said, all of you said. And I think it's great. I think it's really helpful, and I can't wait for the next one. So
good.
So yeah.
Well, likewise, lovey. We're on board. So yes, God bless you all. Thank you so much for coming here today. As I know people are here because you can't see them, or you might do, but I feel as though it's all good, and God bless you all.
Thank you very much.